Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Wednesday morning. It's Tuesday night for me. I'm actually filming this video a little early because I have to get up super early. But I say early, it's over midnight, so I guess it ain't really early for most people. But got a great video planned out for you guys today. Today, I want to talk a little bit about gold, silver, and the recent CPI numbers that just came out yesterday. I'm curious how this is going to play out towards gold and silver. We're seeing a nice little pullback. It's not anything major. Some people won't even call it a pullback. However, we did get over $39, and now we're down in the high $27 range at the time of filming this video. We're going to take a look at the numbers here in just a little bit. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me, help me out. And I got a quick question for everybody. If you would, make a comment. Does the volume on this video seem low, or it seems fine? I have had one person say that it seems like the volume's off, maybe two people, and I don't know if it's on his end or my end. To me, it seems fine. However, I'm trying to find out from you guys what you guys think, if it seems off to you or if it seems fine. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's on my end or their end unless people say something. And a lot of the times people are too polite and won't say anything, and then I won't know. So let me know, and that way I can look more into it if it seems like it's too low. Maybe I'm just soft-spoken. I don't know. T-Square soft-spoken talk. Who knows? With that being said, let's jump right in. Let's go over the numbers before we actually talk about what happened in the CPI. In short, though, the CPI went up. We're now at 2.7. We're up basically 0.3%, and that's an increase from the previous month. And we went up the previous month by 0.1%. Now we're going up 0.3%, and this is starting to worry some people that inflation may be about ready to start ramping up again. How's that going to play out for silver? How's that going to play out for gold? We're going to talk about that tonight. But before we do, let's jump into the numbers. So as of right now, we got silver trading at $37.74. Pretty well. It's looking good right now, but it looks pretty well flat for the time being. However, when I zoom out 5 days, we're seeing a nice little pullback, which is pretty good because at $39, it was starting to get a little expensive. I want to put in a order for the new sitting bull, but it's hard to stomach them prices, so I'm trying to time it for the right opportunity and see what happens. So we'll see. Will it keep coming down? We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Also, we're looking at gold right now at $33.37, so $3,337, up a little bit on gold, which makes sense because as people start to worry more about inflation, they tend to flock to gold. They don't generally have to flock to silver. Gold is seen as a safe haven asset during times of inflation. However, silver is more of a industrial metal. However, anybody that says it's not a monetary metal, some people perceive it as a monetary metal, and they understand that if inflation does ramp up, then the price of everything is going to go up. However, where it's such a highly used item, well, I don't want to get too much into that talk yet. See, there I am. I already kind of been reading over stuff, and I know what I'm going to talk about tonight, but I don't want to talk about it just yet. We're going to get there in a minute. Taking a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin trading at 117,000, down 2,400, about 2%. We're seeing it come down. A lot of that is coming down because of the speculation of no rate cut for this month. For those of you guys that have been following, or girls that have been following, a lot of people are wondering, we're going to see a rate cut this month. They said we'd see one at some point this year. It doesn't look like it's going to be this month, especially with the inflation numbers up. That's going to start to worry them a little bit, and we'll see what happens and how that plays out. Taking a quick look at asset rankings. We got gold trading at 22 trillion currently for a market cap. I say trading, but coming down, we got Bitcoin now in 6th with 2.3 trillion, and silver in eighth with 2.1 trillion. So both of them did come down a spot. Gold will probably never come down a spot. I don't think anything was ever going to pass up big gold. But okay, taking a look. Why? What's going on? Well, obviously the dollar is strengthening. They're putting a little bit right now to strengthen the dollar. We're seeing the dollar now trading at 98.55. A lot of countries are taking hits. I was actually reading about the Canadian currency. They're probably going to have to cut rates because things are getting bad over there. Things are really getting bad everywhere, but here in the U.S., we just have a way of just hiding it and convincing people. I don't know. I don't want to say that we're being dumbed down or that we already have been dumbed down. You know, I kind of think about this a lot because I got a friend of mine that's a foreigner, and he always laughs when he hears some of this stuff, like the dollar is the strongest currency in the world. You know, he gets a kick out of that. It's probably a little more trusted than most, but now people are starting to worry. And I can understand where they're coming from because eventually we can't pay the bills that we have. And so it's just a matter of time before something happens and the dollar gets devalued. I mean, it's being debased on a regular basis now. However, a lot of people believe the dollar is the strongest currency. So if other people fall, then essentially the dollar rises, especially when it comes to the DXY. So we got the DXY trading now at 98.5. If you've been following it for the last, we'll say, week, you will see that it has been slowly climbing higher and higher. I'm trying to pull this chart up right here if I can. Boom, boom. Let's see if we can get it to come up real quick. Computer runs slow today. I don't know if it's the heat or what. Boom. I'm trying to get it to show the 5-day chart. So the 5-day chart, as you can see, we are starting to slowly climb, but we've been on a really bad hit lately. When you zoom out year to date, it's been getting tanked. So we're seeing that pop, but we've seen a pop like that in roughly 4/25. So last year, January, February, March, April of last year, we've seen that pop, and then it continued down a slope. We're seeing a little bit of a pop now, but we'll see if this keeps up. Hopefully it does, because if it does, that will mean silver prices could get cheaper. And despite wanting to see higher silver prices to make my investments worth more, you know, I kind of would like to be able to get some more. And so we'll see what happens. If the price comes down, I'm ready to buy. But if it doesn't, I'll keep paying down that bill that I have that I talked about in yesterday's video, where I probably bought too much silver, but at $33 I couldn't pass it up. So moving on real quick, taking a quick look at the debt. We got the debt at 37.1 trillion. And then I had to know if the numbers did come out today, the CPI numbers, because I've been working all day on different projects. Yeah, the official CPI numbers were released for June. Yesterday on July 15th at 8:30 a.m. And the results of them were the index basically increased by 2.7% over the last 12 months. Before seasonal adjustments, this represents an increase of from the 2.4 annual rate reported in May. Let's see here. It should have been 0.1. Yeah, I didn't actually read the whole thing. I started reading halfway, unfortunately. But we went up 0.3%. And how does that translate? Stuff's getting more expensive. But we knew that was happening. We knew that inflation was not gone. The more money they print, it's expected. I had someone leave me a comment today that said, well, this big, beautiful bill, is that why prices are starting to go up? You know, the big, beautiful bill did get passed, for those of you that don't know. My opinion, though, that spending has not fully taken place yet. So we're seeing inflation, and here we are ramping up the printing presses. And so we know more is going to come. And I think the Fed knows this too, but they're not going to openly say that because they need to keep people calm. They need to keep people invested in the dollar. And as that happens, that means they basically got to lie to us and tell us that things are going great and this and that. I can't wait to hear their meeting at the end of the month, but I'm not expecting a rate cut now, but we'll see how that plays out. Taking a quick look, I wanted to talk a little bit about this tonight. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, rose for June primarily due to an increase in shelter, home prices, energy, food costs, with the impact of tariffs also becoming more noticeable, specifically prices for goods. Most exposed tariffs like household furnishings, appliances, apparel, saw significant increases. Here's the thing. I mean, a lot of the stuff that's being hit by tariffs, in my opinion, the majority of the stuff that people are feeling is stuff that people don't need. It's stuff that people want. And at some point, Americans, I think, are just going to have to cut back on spending. They're going to have to start paying down their bills and just kind of roll with it. I understand everybody wants the newest, the latest, and greatest gadgets, but when winter's coming, what do? You stock up and you prepare for winter. And when summer's coming, a lot of people, they eagerly, essentially grow. They get to use. Those are your good times. When bad times come, you need to prepare. And right now, I think we're in summer. I'm catching a cold, I think. I don't know what it is. If it's allergies, we got all that Sierra dust coming into Texas right now, and it's been messing up with my allergies lately. It could be a combination, too, of lack of sleep. But obviously, we're seeing a lot of prices on everything go up. We're seeing oil and gas go up. So when you go fill up at the pump, we're seeing that go up, and you need that. We're seeing shelter costs go up. Obviously, people have to have a place to stay. We're seeing food costs go up. Obviously, people got to eat. People don't necessarily need the newest and latest, greatest thing. My washing machine broke. I was lucky enough that somebody was moving, and they said the new place they're moving to has all brand new appliances. And so they had given me their old stuff. They said, hey, if you want it, you can have it. Whatever you don't want, just, put by the road. And I was like, it all works. So I'm going to definitely keeping the washing machine and the stove. I may end up putting the fridge and the dryer in storage, even though I don't need it right now. I think if things continue to ramp up and get more expensive, people may turn around and start buying used items instead of going to Lowe's and getting the latest and greatest thing. It's kind of funny. One of my neighbors was actually throwing away a dryer probably a couple months ago, and he said basically it was because they were having trouble with the little prong that locks it in place. They had to shut it a few times, and it's kind of annoying, and so they just wanted a new one. And I'm like, wow, $400 because you're having trouble shutting it. It's not locking on the first shot. And I ended up using it, and yeah, it doesn't lock on the first shot. I might have to mess with it for a whole minute, not quite a minute, not even a minute, maybe 30 seconds. So it's kind of funny how society is, how spoiled people have gotten. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, because eventually, the bill comes due for anything. My dog's trying to climb up on me now. So in a minute, go. Let's see here. What else did I want to talk about? That kind of sums it up. As the CPI starts to increase, a lot of people are wondering, is it going to end up racking up silver price? Is it going to push up silver price higher? When inflation gets really bad, gold is usually the first thing that goes up. I would not be surprised to see gold start to climb. I know silver should climb. However, we are in summertime right now. The industrial demand on silver is slowing if people start slowing down on their spending, which means, we could get lucky and see a little bit of a pullback. We're seeing a certain amount of pullback already. I know some people are going to say 37.77 is not a pullback. I'll be honest, talking about pullbacks on this channel has been extremely hard because when you talk about pullbacks, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people are against wanting a pullback because they think that, oh, you're rooting against it. I took a lot of hits and kind of mean comments. I know doing this, you can't really pay too much attention to the comments, but a lot of people end up leaving mean comments if you start talking about a pullback. But realistically, we had a nice climb here. Look at how much it was on April 7th. We were down to $28. Yeah, we were down to $28. 20, well, yeah, we might as well say $29. 28.75, I think it got to. I'm trying to find the exact spot. 28.75. We'll just say $29. And now we're at pretty much $38 essentially. That's a pretty big climb for 3 months. So seeing some sort of a little bit of a dip would not be unreasonable. I'd be happy if I see it get into the $36 range again. I'm not telling people that there is a dip coming. I know, like I said, people hate to hear that. But I personally would like to see some sort of a dip. I would love to see $36 again, put in an order, and then let it jump. Because the truth of the matter is, with what we've seen recently, the $39 range, I think it's just going to be a matter of time before we get back there. This is summertime. Summertime, we should not be seeing silver climbing the way it's climbing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I'll talk more about that as time goes on. It's just too soon to really see how a lot of this is going to play out. I had someone ask me actually too if I think the stock market could take a devastating hit and a collapse. You know, I've been thinking the stock market should be taking a hit for a while now, and we're seeing it just grow to newer and newer all-time highs. At some point, it's got to pop. It really does. And for the people out there that just are against the possibility of it popping, you know, hey, maybe they're right, but eventually everything has to pop. And I know somebody might say, well, silver could pop too. And that's exactly true. However, people have to understand silver's not even anywhere near its all-time high. So we'll see how that plays out. With that being said, I didn't want today to be a long video, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me take a look real quick how long it's been. You know, it's only been 17 minutes, but like I said, there's a lot going on right now, so I don't expect today to be a long video. We'll talk more about this as time goes on, especially over the next week or two. I can't wait to see what the Fed's going to do, but we're still 2 weeks out almost for the Fed meeting. And ultimately, I would not be surprised to see another dollar drop. And if we do see that, that's in a nice range. $1.70 would be great, but I don't think we'll see that much. But who knows? We'll see what happens. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Please, again, if you would, let me know how the audio is on this video so I can, I don't know, try to figure out something if it's really bad. I don't know. It sounded fine when I played my yesterday's video. But who knows. With that being said, thank you all for watching, commenting, and hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.